In 1969, a group of astronauts changed the world. They walked on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In 1972, our journey ended. We've never been back. 2010 begins a year of change. Private companies are working on next-generation spaceships. Governments are looking to go back to the moon and on to Mars. It's time to look up and dream again. It's time to push humans into the cosmos. It's time to educate and engage the planet. It's time for Spacevidcast.
Welcome to Spacevidcast, episode 301 for January, I have no idea, it's January 8th, 2010. It's the first episode of 2010. Actually, I'm supposed to say 2010. We don't want to get in the habit of saying 2010.
Why?
I'll tell you that later. We'll do that in post-show where there's a good explanation behind that. We are your hosts. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham. With me, as always, is the beautiful, lovely, wonderful, and talented Carrie Ann Higginbotham. And we have got an action-packed epic-sode for you. You guys in the chat room loved the new open. That was...
They're like, play it again. No, we're in the show.
We'll play
it again.
We'll play for you guys again in post-show. Oh, you get sick of it by the end of the year. And you know, I just wanted to thank everyone who helped us out in 2009 and who has helped to make Spacevidcast the show that it is. And in 2010, we're going to be doing a lot of marketing, a lot of improvements in the show just to try to get it out there. Because as you saw in the open, we are passionate about this stuff. This is something that we do need to educate the planet on. We do need to get out there and explain to people why sending humans to the cosmos is a good thing. And a great explanation of all of that is actually in the last episode of last year with Douglas Millett, who wrote the book Turning Point. And I highly suggest, if you haven't purchased that book yet, go grab that book because he does a great job of talking about the reasons that space travel is incredibly important and why we as a civilization should be moving into space and building an entire new industry on space travel. And I realize that a lot of people have become disenchanted with space, I guess.
Right.
I know we've had, this is not a new industry. It's been around since the 60s. And heck, we were on, as the Open said, we were on the moon and we never went back since 1972. We've been there, we've done that. And there were all these promises that we were given. Flying cars, we're going to be on the moon, lunar bases, we'll be on Mars. And none of them came to fruition. And so I think people are kind of, you know, they just don't believe it's going to happen.
Right.
But this is the year, 2010. This is the year that it all changes. This is when the fundamental plates are put in place. This is when the groundwork is done for humans to truly reach into the stars. And, you know, Virgin Galactic, they're not going to send paying customers into space in 2010, but I certainly believe they're going to start doing drop tests of Spaceship Two. They're going to start doing the White Knight 2, Spaceship Two mounting and testing all of that and making that go. And by 2012, I think they will have paying customers. We're going to see the last of the space shuttle going in 2010. This is it. This is the final year of the space shuttle. The old guard is ending. And while I love the space shuttle program, and I love the space shuttle, I think it's great, I'm going to keep going. No, this is a tirade I've been planning for like 2 weeks now. While the space shuttle is great, and I'm excited to see these final missions, it does need to go away. It's time for us to move on. It's time for us to go back to the moon, go on to Mars and beyond. It's time for us to build a vehicle that can do this stuff. 2010 is the year that changes because we end the space shuttle program. I think that's actually a good thing. It's also the year where we're going to start to see X-Core coming out and starting to do, I hope, some pretty cool things. It might just be vaporware for all we know. I haven't seen anything. Or they could have been doing stuff behind the scenes, but they've got some great contracts with South Korea. South Korea, right? Yep, they've got some money coming in there, so they've got a lot of great stuff going on there. And this is the time when we need to start getting excited and we need to start speaking as a space group with a unified voice saying, you know what, it's time to start doing this stuff. This is expensive stuff, but this is important stuff. We need to build the infrastructure. We need to start the jobs. We need to get into space. This is the year that it all starts to happen. So there's my tirade, there's my rant, and I'm sure that we're going to do that all over again in the back part of the show. Do you want to add anything to that, or am I
No. Carrie Ann being quiet for over 5 minutes is a new Spacevidcast record, I think. So
Probably.
why ruin that now?
Yep. I do want to thank, once again, thank all of the viewers out there who have helped make the show what it is, and we've got some really awesome stuff coming up in 2010. Not everything is being released with episode 301. We're going to trickle it out over the next month or so. So by the end of January, hopefully most if not all of our features will be released. One of the really cool things you can get as of right now is a Spacevidcast app you can download on your computer. Windows, Macintosh, or Linux. Doesn't matter. So we pretty much got your bases covered. Go to spacevidcast.com. All new page layout. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a desktop app. Click on that. You can actually watch Spacevidcast on your computer without having to open your browser. You can watch it live 24/7. We have a 24/7 streaming video of just NASA TV or launch events or whatever may be going on. In addition, you can activate the chat room, and I'd like to personally thank Colton for spending way too much time building that application. And for anyone who's ever worked with me knows, I am a stickler for details. If you're going to do it,
That's the PC way of putting it.
Yeah,
There's a very un-PC way of that I usually put it.
There is, and he did a great job of working with me, and even like I'd be like, well, that's 1 pixel off. Could you change that? And he would, and he did it without complaint. He did a freaking amazing job. And so go to spacevidcast.com/app, I think it is. We'll bring you straight to the. Straight to that. Epic is not yet available. It will be available in January. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But for now, I think we should get this thing started again with some space news. Space news. Yes, no black this time. I think, did we ever verify if this was where this was at?
No.
Okay. The first space news item is if you want to go to space, you might be able to do that for free, actually, using a reality television show. This is a reality space show called Star Walker. It's I believe it's in Australia, actually.
Okay.
Right?
One of us said Australia, the other one said UK. We're not really positive. And there's lots of controversy around it, as some people think it's just an Australian remake of the show, I forget what it was called, in the UK.
The one where they faked everyone out?
Yes.
Okay, that's actually what I asked you in the car. There was this show.
Right.
There was this show which I thought was hilarious, where they basically said, you're going to train to be an astronaut, you're going to go to the stars, you're going to go on the space shuttle, it's going to be great. And they did the astronaut training, and then they put them in a simulator and simulated a launch and pretended they left them in there as if they were.
I mean, told them that they were in orbit, and gave them the different views outside of the windows, the portholes and stuff. I mean, they really went all out.
But I don't understand.
To do that. The best part was that these people really thought that they were in space. I'm like, hello,
gravity.
Zero gravity.
How did they couldn't have simulated?
No, they didn't. That's the thing. But these people were just so. They just were so entrenched in what was going on that, and the whole thing was filmed just like the real world. So you got to see all the little fights between people and stuff like that, and they were doing experiments, et cetera, et cetera. And the big reveal was them, coming home, and they gave them like a bunch of different clues, sort of like leading up on that last day or couple of days sort of thing. And the whole time there's like a Ryan Seacrest like 20 feet away kind of saying, let's see what they think about that. And they go to just the cameras. It was terrible. They open like this huge hatch and people are walking out and they're really confused because they're in a studio. I thought we were, just terrible.
That was our question. Is it going to be another one of those? Because frankly, putting humans into space is freaking expensive. Even if this show, exactly. So you can go to the URL at the bottom of your screen. The question here is, so you become a contestant here.
Right.
And let's just say they send one person into space.
Right.
Just on Virgin Galactic, that's going to be, who isn't even flying yet.
Right.
At least not paying customers. That's going to be $200,000 U.S. minimum.
And the best part is, I should get the URL for it. I apologize that I didn't put that in there. Realstarwalker.blogspot.com. I'll throw it in the chat room for you really quickly. Talks about like, hey, not only is this the Star Walker contest, but there's also a contest to design the patch for the mission. The mission. Okay, and supposedly there are renowned designers who are going to design the. Oh, it gets bad. It gets really bad. And did you take the video
No, I couldn't. I couldn't get it.
Okay.
Oh, wait, the bad, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The other thing is that there are people, they also have a different contest associated with this to be, and I call it the Ryan Seacrest of this particular show.
The Ryan Spacecrest, as they mentioned earlier in the chat room.
That's terrible, and I'm not going to ever use that. But the point is that you can audition by making a short video to try and be the host for this particular show. And so people are going out and doing these videos. It's hysterical. It's totally hysterical.
So Quantum is saying that this is 2 seats aboard a Soyuz capsule, which again, but yeah, the BS meter gone because it's freaking expensive, right?
But at the same time, it's free to enter. You might as well just put your name in.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be great if like somebody who really knows got in? And they're calling BS the whole time.
That's what we need. We need a Spacevidcast.
We need a mole.
Yeah, exactly, to pretend like they don't really know a whole lot about space, but they really want to go in. And then when you launch and realize that there's still gravity, you can be like,
No, I think you should play along the whole time.
I have a question.
No, play along the whole time. How much fun would that be? Be like, we're totally in space, dude!
I'm gonna open the airlock!
Great! Hold my breath! Yeah, no, just the whole thing. Whatever. If it's not true, fine, and it'd be funny, and if it is true, all the better, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. So, there
Anyhow,
you go.
hit out the hit the Starwalker website.
I'm thinking about going out and trying to be the Seacrest. I'm gonna try and go out and put my little video in and see what happens.
However, India is looking for real astronauts, or as they pronounce in Vymonauts.
Yes, hold on.
It's VYOMA knots. VYOMA.
I think it's Vyomanauts.
Vyomanauts?
I think Vyoma means space or sky in Sanskrit, so that's why it's Vyomanauts.
Okay.
That's what I think. You know how I cannot pronounce anything, you guys, okay? So, but they're looking for their own versions of astronauts or cosmonauts, not donuts. Thank you.
They've got a short list of 200 of their Air Force, I think.
Yes.
And they're trying to whittle that down to 4, is it?
Yeah. Well, you know, they don't want to step over any boundaries. They don't want to take on too many things all at once. And they are in cahoots is not the word that I wanted. They are doing some training together with the Russian Space Agency and their cosmonauts. So they didn't want to be like, hey, we picked out 40 guys. Here you go. Make it happen.
Have you noticed how many agencies are working with Russia? It's quite a few.
Yeah. Although the Starwalker people are not.
Well, he said so. Anyhow. But the cool thing is that they're looking to put humans into space by 2015, I think it was?
Yep.
Yeah, 2015. So once again, you know, this being the fundamental year, they're going to get their astronauts in 2010, train them, and in 5 years or so, India will have if all goes well, I mean, who knows, space is very, very hard, it will go, in 5 years, they'll have humans in space. That's pretty awesome.
That's really exciting. Yes?
I'm moving on to the next item. Yeah. So there was a construction contract awarded for Spaceport America. Although this particular news item is going to be pretty quick because the same people that won the contract for the runway, they're going to get to do everything that goes around it. So like all the what is it, a causeway, everything that connects
They're calling
into
it the apron.
The apron, yeah, the apron that connects into the runway. They've got basically the same construction company has won that bid for $5.75 million. It sounds like Spaceport America is really starting to come along. For those who don't know, that's the private spaceport that Virgin Galactic will be flying out of in the U.S., and they're located in New Mexico. Tarmac, as Gisick said, is probably another word that I was looking for. Like she said, they're calling it the apron. So that's coming along, and I mean they're well underway on the actual runway itself.
Right. I mean the reason that I picked up on this particular story is that not only do they have actual plans and that kind of thing, and that they sent out for people to bid on these things, but the bids are being won and there's work starting to be done. And I think that's sort of the big deal. It's not just, kind of like you were saying, it's not just sort of just a pretty picture on a wall saying, we're gonna do that someday. You know, things are actually moving right along on this, and there are companies that are, you know, like I said, bidding and winning bids and starting construction on this. So that's really exciting. I
think we should take a quick break and then we'll come back with the rest of the news items and some of the stuff that's happening in 2010.
Right on.
So you guys stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Once upon a time, a special few dinosaurs were given a gift. Something that set them apart from everyone else. Flying. If dinosaurs could speak, the orthodox among them would have dismissed the entire notion. Big deal, they would have told themselves. There's nothing up there but empty space. Every good thing in your life is here on the Earth. Food, shelter, company, not to mention greenery. Up there is absolutely nothing. But a strange thing happened. The dinosaurs on the ground died out 65 million years ago. And the ones with the gift of flight, the ones who pioneered the empty space above their heads, well, they're called birds. What's more, there are twice as many species of birds as ground-walking mammals, meaning the flyers have found twice as many ways of making a living in the sky. And flyers, be they birds or flying mammals, live longer than groundlings. Is nature trying to tell us something? Is there another empty space waiting for the flyers among us? Come to the National Space Society's International Space Development Conference in Chicago, May 2010, and wave the other dinosaurs goodbye. Bring space to life by bringing life to space.
I love that slogan.
That's awesome.
Space to life and life to space. I do want to thank a couple more people for making Spacevidcast possible. We do this show live every Friday at 2 a.m. Coordinated Universal Time, right from the Crow River Coffee Company, and they have got their own special of blend
for us.
For us. It's called Blast Off Blend, and you can get that by going to crowrivercoffee.com. Click on the shop and then Blast Off Blend, and it's great for if you're trying to stay awake during a launch, or if you've got a really late night rollout. You know, space happens whenever space wants to happen. It doesn't care. That's the quote of 2010, by the way.
Really?
It doesn't care
Space happens when space happens.
It doesn't care what time of day it is, so sometimes you need a little bit of a jolt to keep you awake, and that's what Blast Off Blend will help you do. It also helps out Crow River Coffee Company, which helps us stay in this space, because if you ever saw a behind-the-scenes shot, we do take pretty much a giant amount of space in the studio.
Yep.
I also want to thank Ustream for making all of this happen, because they are the only site right now that I know of that lets us stream for free high-definition live streaming video, not just of our show, but also of launch events. And we are the only place on the planet that I know of where you can go online and actually watch high-definition coverage of space stuff live in real time. Now, obviously, you can go to your TV, but most of those, like CNN and Fox, they're only going to show you a small snippet, and then they're going to cut away.
Right.
We're going to give you, via Ustream, the full launch event from the moment they start the way pre-countdown all the way through, way past MECO. You know, anything we can get our hands on high
I
definition.
don't know, Tiger Woods Affairs.
Yeah,
That's a
whoop-de-doo, right?
big deal.
So, and Ustream makes that possible, and they're also working with us for those Epic subscribers, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So for Epic, one of the things we want to deliver to you is an ad-free experience, which you'll still get the ads in the middle of the show and whatnot, but those pop-up ads that you see at the bottom and the pre-roll and post-roll ads, you will not see those if you're an Epic subscriber, and that counts for launch events as well. And they're working with us to try to find a solution to make that happen. That's not ready yet, but it's really cool that Ustream was willing to go to that level for us and make that happen. And we're just...
Just for us.
No.
No, obviously not. But
you know, they're great people. They've been fantastic to work with. We've actually worked with them prior to the Spacevidcast era, back in the Technology Evangelist era. Yeah, when they first started up, actually. And they've been
awesome.
They've been great. So I just wanted to thank them for everything they've done for us.
Thank
And
you.
if you've got a live event, do it on Ustream. We want to make them the premier place for all these space events. ISDC, you know, have a bunch of Ustream rooms.
That's where everybody is anyway.
Absolutely, that's where the audience is. That's where you guys are. That's why we're here. And yeah, we've got a bunch of events, as you saw in the break. We've got ISDC 2010, so check out the ISDC website. That's part of the National Space Society.
Yep.
That's going to be a great conference. We covered 2009. We'll see if we can cover 2010 for you. But obviously, we can only cover one room at a time, and there are oodles and oodles of conferences going on.
Bazillions.
So really, if you want the experience, you have to go there in person. That's the only real way to experience that. 2010. Oh, I was gonna mention why. The reason you want to do 2010 is because you don't want to be saying like 2034 or 2035. It's going to be 2030.
Why not? We did 1987.
Exactly, 1987. You didn't do
1987.
Right. So.
Okay, whatever.
So 2010.
That's great.
I have to remember 2010. That's
Right.
what I want to do. The other one, as Carrie Ann already posted in the chat room, is Space Up. Spaceup.org is going to be another great conference. That's a unconference, actually.
It's the first space unconference, and if you're not familiar with unconferences, I suggest going to spaceup.org, and they have a great explanation. It's very much so like bar camp for a lot of the people who are more tech oriented, where everyone who goes doesn't just go to see a presentation, but they are expected to present. I was going to say to presentation. That's not what I wanted to say. But so there are a lot of Ignite talks. There's a lot of just very casual sort of like conversations that you guys have in the chat room, but IRL. If you want to.
But IRL. She went TLA on you guys on that one.
What? I know the TLAs. Come on. Which is very cool. So we're working on, we are a media sponsor right now. We're working on trying to figure out how to get all of the stuff that's going, well, not all of it, obviously. We can't get all of it. But as much stuff that's going on there, broadcast on Spacevidcast. We might be there. We're not really sure, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a very, very cool thing from San Diego Space. And Chris is a great guy. Doing lots and lots and lots of footwork for that. So he's busting his butt trying to figure all that stuff out. It should be a lot of fun.
You know, there's another one coming up that you're going to be speaking at, and that's most space geeks are tech geeks as well. I know that we were having conversations pre-show about the different phones announced at CES, like the Nexus 1 and the Android operating systems. And I mean, it's just part of it, right? You're a space geek, you're probably a tech geek. And if you're a tech geek, you're probably a space geek. Although the space geeks are not above the tech geeks, just so you know.
Right, because they're floating in air.
Exactly. They're at higher altitude. That's how that works.
Okay.
She'll be speaking at South by Southwest. There's going to be a Moon 2.0 panel, and you're going to be speaking with GLXP.
Amanda from GLXP.
I don't remember, and I don't remember.
Awesome. Nick Skitland, representing NASA, and Dave Maston, who, if Maston sounds familiar, Maston Space Systems happened to have won the, NGLLC this year.
First place.
Last year. I apologize, 2009.
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with
2010. So there you go. So yeah, it should be a very interesting panel. At the moment, I don't think we've got a moderator, but we've got a couple things up our sleeves going on for that. So it's a Moon 2.0 panel. People at South by Southwest, like the organizers, I can't talk tonight, I'm so sorry, are really excited about having a space panel. You know, they don't get a whole lot of space stuff, and it just happens to be that this year, during the film part, which the interactive and film part go on at the same time, that there's going to be the IMAX Hubble 3D movie.
Awesome.
So, right, so there's more space stuff coming out all at the same time.
I can almost guarantee you that prior to that movie, they're going to be like, if you feel motion sickness,
right,
close your eyes.
Oh, no. I'm so totally hoping that, you know, our talk isn't at the same time. Because I could just see somebody completely screwing that up. But anyway, so hopefully we'll have a Spacevidcast tweet up or something along those lines. I'll get information out to you guys about that, but we will we have that on Spacevidcast?
I have no idea.
Talking about that. Anyway, so yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff coming up in the next couple of months because Space Up is supposed to be coming up either in February or March. We haven't had a determined date on that yet. We, of course, have the launch of STS 130 coming up in February, and we've got the SpaceX is. It's
a great year. It's a great year for space nerds. I mean, starting almost right away next month, we've got conferences, we've got launch events, we've got more conferences the month after that. We've got ISDC coming up right after. It's just boom, 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 and then with ISDC, we've got another launch event. I mean, and
Space Access in April, Yuri's Night in April. It's just craziness, total craziness.
It's going to be awesome.
It's a great year for space geeks.
Oh yeah, well, it's the tipping point. Read my article on Spacevidcast. Less boom. All right, and anything else we wanted to cover?
Well, did you want to talk about maybe the final space patch?
Well, I was going to. Well, sure, we can do that.
We don't have to.
Well, I was going to go into the back into the news items.
All right, yeah.
Actually, no. Hang, see, this is how organized we are. Hang on, everyone. You guys all wait for a moment while we organize this. Let's go to the space patch, then go back down.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Hi, welcome back to the show. We've got.
This is why you guys love us. I mean, come on. If we sat here like total newsy and like suits and had our little papers.
We totally should we should just surprise them. Like 1 week, just like suits and like in a news set and just like big boom cameras, and then go right back to this the next week.
Clings to life. Well, I mean, come on. It would just be terrible.
For Halloween, yes. I'll
Halloween.
do Ron Burgundy.
Maybe for April Fools. Anyhow, so tactical Mobius would cry laughing, as would probably I. Anyhow, so obviously, Space Shuttle, the final Space Shuttle is coming up, Space Shuttle mission.
2010. It's supposed to be 2010. Now there's rumbling.
Right.
Who knows what's really going on? But right now, as
It's
of
coming
today,
up.
it's this year. There's a possibility that it's going to go next year, but most likely this year.
Right. So every mission has its own patch.
Yep.
And the Space Shuttle itself has its own patch.
Yeah, it's
not a mission patch,
It's like a
but
triangle with a shuttle in it.
Right, exactly. And so they wanted a final Space Shuttle mission patch.
Yep.
But that's where I was confused, because I thought that each mission, the astronauts made their own, or they just helped design their own patches. So is this just to signify the end of the Space Shuttle program patch? Is that what that is?
Oh, I thought it was the actual mission patch. This is the mission patch.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we've actually got, there are 12 different patch designs, and we've got all 12 on that you can see. It's called patch.
End of the program patch, thank you, BZ.
No, we don't.
What? We don't. All right, well, that's too bad. You can't see the patches, but they're very cool, and they're all very different. And one of my favorite things was that I was going through and sort of looking at all the different patches, et cetera, and some of them show 5 shuttles, and some of them show 6 shuttles. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, like 6 Enterprise.
Enterprise. Yep.
Completely had forgotten about Enterprise. And then some of them sort of highlight the 2 shuttles that we lost.
Yep.
They're in different colors, or there's just a lot of different ways that they exemplify, all the different things that the shuttle missions have accomplished. It was very, very cool, and so I think that's really neat. And I don't remember for sure if I know. How could I forget Enterprise? I know. I'm getting yelled at by the chat room.
And there was Pathfinder, although that didn't really count as a shuttle. But there was Pathfinder.
Yeah, you gonna tell everybody now that they're wrong?
What?
Your design is wrong.
Well, I'm not sure you can...
That's like us going to the Lego store at the Mall of America and being like, did you know that the ISS actually has 4 panels now and not just the 3 that you...
Yeah, I don't think you can really count Pathfinder, though. What do you guys think? Would you count Pathfinder as a shuttle? I mean, Enterprise is even kind of stretching it, because it never went into space. Pathfinder was never designed even... It was wood, right? I mean, it never did anything. So, but, yeah. So I got a no, a yes, no.
Yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
Wood. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah. If you can wiki Pathfinder, but it's basically a giant mock-up of the space shuttle, so they could make sure it can make it in different places and go places. And
right.
Yeah. So hit the Gizmodo website, or they've got them on Collect Space as well.
Yep.
And I had a thing, and apparently I saved it wrong, so you don't get to see them in our live stream.
We're going to show you, but you can't see them.
But they're pretty cool, actually. My favorite is, how am I going to do this? That's not my favorite.
I was just say that's your favorite.
No, that's my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah, I like this
I don't
one.
know how they're going to make that into
watch
a patch,
this.
though.
Check this out. Internet
This is
TV
welcome
is
to
best.
live TV.
Yeah, here we go. This is my favorite. You guys can see if this is going to work.
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah, not terrible. Out of focus, but
out of focus,
you can
yeah.
kind of figure out which one. Maybe back here. There you go. Calf's just covering his face in shame. That's what just happened right there.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, so, but you get the idea.
All right.
Moving right along.
The last item is time.
Yes.
This is the first time we're sending a spacecraft to actually observe non-Earth seas, I guess.
Right.
It's more than observe non-Earth seas. It's really it's trying to find the stuff of life, as Carl Sagan would say.
Yes.
Stuff of life. We're all made of star stuff.
That would work, I suppose.
And it's going to be measuring liquid beyond Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking at. My mind just blanked.
That's awesome.
I'm calling it up right now. You have it, right? I mean, Cassini.
do.
It's Cassini, right?
Yeah. Right? No, it's post-Cassini. Major questions remain about the chemistry of lake liquids. And
Titan.
Thank you.
Whew.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's the Titan Mare Explorer. Time. Ha ha. Ha ha
There you go.
ha.
Time.
So, Titan. Oh,
I don't know why I thought Cassini. They're going out. I'm just going to stop this particular story because clearly we're epic fail in this one. But they're going out. They're going to be looking at the seas on Titan. I believe they're analyzing all of that stuff because we sent the Cassini spacecraft out there to look at stuff, and we were like, this is kind of weird and interesting. And then we wanted more information, so we're sending out Time to actually go measure that stuff and look for the stuff of life.
Right, and it's basically a boat, or it's a variation thereof, but it's supposed to be in the water. It's a water lander, as opposed to something that can only go, that can only roam on land and sort of look at the water, maybe touch it and taste it, and that's about it. This will actually be within the water, floating around.
First time we've tried something like this. It's going to be pretty cool. A boat, yes, it's a space boat. Water lander, yes. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Water lander.
Thank you.
Space boat. So a space boat looking for star stuff that starts life.
Wow.
There you go. And there's still, the chat room's just talking about what their favorite orbital vehicle is, which happens to be, by the way, 104. So just so you know, everyone knows,
because we don't have the chat room at the bottom of the screen, that's just what it is now.
Yep, that's why we no longer have the chat room at the bottom of the screen, because I can tell you what it is, and the chat room completely agrees with me. They're all saying absolutely 104, 104. BZ just said absolutely 104. Whoa, 104. Yep, Sparkware 104 as well. Yep, they all agree. In fact, no one disagrees with me whatsoever. So that's the way that works out.
That's terrible. Okay, goodness. Anyway.
So yeah, that's what's a little bit of what's going on in space this week, as it were. We're going to start up our daily shows shortly. We're going to start up podcasts as well, which are going to be pretty cool. So you're going to have blogs, podcasts, daily shows, and then these live shows. We're changing the format of the live show a little bit. It's not going to just be news as it traditionally was, a lot like this show. We're going to do a lot of the news in the daily shows because whatever, and then this is going to be more of a discussion show with you guys, and it's going to be awesome and fun and epic. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to see you next week, Friday, 2 a.m. Coordinated Universal Time right here at Spacevidcast.com. For those of you in the United States, that's Thursday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific Time, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you joining us live, stay with us for post-show, and we'll see you next week.